Hey, what's going on, you guys? Bring your friends here. Today I wanted to make a quick video going over the balance preview that was covered on, I believe, 3 days ago. Sorry I've taken so long to make a video of it, but it's going to be pretty short and sweet. I'll be covering the general changes, the changes to Mesmer, and very briefly go over the changes to other classes that I thought were pretty crazy or worth noting. I will say this right now, though. The way the game's going, I firmly believe that it would be in a much better state if they were to take the game and balance it individually between 3 game modes. Because the way they're doing it right now is one decision is inherently branching off into all 3 game types, which is PvE, World v World, and SPVP. And I don't really think that's the way to go, just because you'll never find a happy medium for making one decision that'll work in 3 things that have nothing really to do with each other. And whatever decision you come to is always going to piss 2 other branches off. So like if you make a decision for SPVP, then World v World and PvE is going to be mad. If you make a change for PvE, then World v World and SPVP is going to be mad. So you're never going to find a happy medium. I understand that it will take longer for this type of stuff, especially if you're making balance changes that will affect more than one thing, but I would rather wait longer, as crazy as that would say, for a product that's specifically, or for changes that's specifically for a certain game type. But that's just me. So let's just go into the overall changes first. General overview and balance changes. Quickness is slow, no longer affecting stomping resin. This, I feel, didn't really need to be there. The first thing I see when I look at this was the, I'm not sure if you guys remember, but the patch where they implemented, I forget which patch, it was a really big one, but they actually took out Raid of the Capricorn, and they basically got rid of all the water because they didn't feel like balancing it. I feel like that this is essentially the same mindset, because after Heart of Thorns came out, there was a big quickness bug when it comes to stomping and stuff like that. You would go to stomp, and then you would literally have to sit there in the animation. You would literally just have to stand there and wait for the servers to catch up to you in order to fix it. Either A, they didn't have enough time, or B, that in order to just get rid of the problem, you just get rid of the mechanic. And that's a terrible decision in my opinion. And especially while slow, didn't really have a bug to it. It was just collateral from the quickness. Now, if you're afraid that quickness and slow might be overpowered, then in that case, limit the amount of quickness and slow you give to the players rather than take away the mechanic in general. Quickness, slow, turn defensive abilities into faster abilities, which is not useful. We turn the time scaling off for these abilities. Example, shield block no longer hasten with quickness or extend with slow. There are some exceptions like Blurred Frenzy. I actually agree with this one. You have to make it specific whether or not quickness or slow affects these abilities. And yeah, definitely good in my opinion. Good job. Modifying or removing some of these defensive amulets in PvP, adding some new stat combos in PvP that you don't normally see. So this one's kind of controversial. They're getting rid of soldiers, settlers, Selly, and sentinels. We've never really played Guild Wars without Selly for the most part. At the very beginning of the game, I'm not sure if you guys have been around for that, I was. Selly was kind of a joke amulet. Like, it was never really considered, you know, it went from 0 to hero, and then everybody started using it. Ellies and Mesmers are going to feel this quite hard, especially. Ellie has a low health pool, and basically Mesmer's going to end up going back to Torch and Decoy for the most part, or at least that's what I predict will happen. It still seems like the lazy decision to just straight up get rid of 4 amulets after Heart of Thorns, because this was never really a crazy problem for the most part until Heart of Thorns came out. So this, in my opinion, is more of a elite spec problem and not an amulet problem, but that's just me personally, because I mean it was never really overblown until Heart of Thorns came out. Sure, there was like, you know, really cheesy comps like Radioactive, like in their own little bubble, you know, doing their own thing, but no one really followed suit except for them. It was kind of more of a diverse thing for them to just exist in the meta and compete. But off the top of my head, it feels like they're just trying to get things done as fast as possible, and this is the fastest road to fixing it, because just by seeing this, it just tells me that they literally don't have enough time, or they're afraid that they're going to lose players faster if they don't do something now. So that's what this tells me. Who knows if it's going to be a good or bad thing. For some classes more than others, a very bad thing. For inerrant, like classes like thieves is going to be a great thing, just because thieves have just the mechanic of stealth that they can always rely on, and black powder and all that good shit. So who knows? Going into Mesmer. Where is it at? There we go. Rip. Mesmers will getting a reduction in both defense and offense via alacrity changes, which I suggested in a previous video. Alacrity caused too much overall damage increase. Basically, you had a Mesmer or you had a 66% damage loss. We didn't want to reduce the amount of alacrity, as you can just bring more Mesmers to bridge the gap. From the way this sounds, it sounds like PvE type scenario. We brought alacrity down from 66 to 33%, so it's not useless. Although I do agree that alacrity is fundamentally the problem with Chronomancer, but I'm not sure if you guys have abandoned your shave mentality, but where's the shaving and taking something and cutting it down by half? Well of Precog. This is the most hilarious one. Gone from granting invulnerability to applying 3 seconds of Aegis every pulse. Who the fuck made this type of decision on Well of Precog? Yeah! You go from blur to invulnerability that prevented point contribution, and now it's just 3 seconds of Aegis. What? Who would take this? It's not good balance to straight up make a trait unusable.
You didn't want to just make it useless.
Blink is better, decoy is better, mirror images is better. Like, everything is inherently better now than Well of Precog. Well of Precog got nerfed to the extent that it did. It's just the crying on the forums. Like, people were just screaming about it. If you complain enough, something will happen. And then that was the case with Well of Precog, because I honestly thought blur was fine. It wasn't really the Well of Precog that was the problem to Bunker Mesmer. It was just the problem of alacrity, because alacrity controls everything. So people just didn't really realize that, and now Well of Precog is suffering the consequences for the frustration of people who didn't understand the class inherently to begin with. Malicious Sorcery. This trait applies attack speed while wielding Scepter, increased from 15 to 20%. Like, I get it, you guys want to speed up Malicious Sorcery or the attack speed on Scepter, but this, to me, feels like you're just putting this in to get rid of the clunky trait, or the clunky weapon that is Scepter. Chaos Armor. This is applying too much blind. It will apply weakness rather than blind. Swiftness, confusion duration increased from 3 to 5. Chaos Armor, especially with blind, was odd. So my question to you, why is it not odd that confusion and cripple essentially are balanced the same way? They hit you, RNG, they get one of those 3 conditions, and then that's it. Except with blind, it's just they happen to miss the next attack if it were to connect. So I don't really understand the decision behind this. One, Chaos Armor is random, so it's not like it was applying too much blind, because there's no way to apply too much blind. Two, Chaos Armor is on a 1 second hidden ICD, so it's not like you're getting too much blind. There's only a specific amount of blind. If you were to roll blind, there's no reason to change this. I don't understand that at all. Alright, so just going over other changes that I thought was pretty crazy. Necro Corrupt Boon I thought was over the top. Reducing the amount of boons you can corrupt from 5 to 3. Recharge reduced from 40 seconds to 15. You can corrupt boons more frequently instead of corrupting a large. So basically, a buff to Corrupt Boon, which is questionable. You can corrupt boon every 15 seconds, and sure, the amount of boons you can corrupt is less, but every 30 seconds you're going to be able to corrupt 6, as where every 40 you're going to be able to corrupt 5. So essentially a buff to Corrupt Boon. Putrid Curse, basically Scepter auto attack chain 3, corrupt 1 boon every attack. So when I read this, I think of the same thing off of Scepter auto attack chain 3, which is create another clone, except instead of create another clone, it's just corrupt a boon. No creativity at all. They're just taking the same mechanic behind Mesmer and then giving Necro something different on the end of the auto attack chain. Diamond Skin. Diamond Skin going from condition immunity to condition removal. 1 condition removed on a 1 second interval cooldown. Health threshold is now 75% instead of 90, so rapid condition application will spike you down. If Selly was still in the game, I would say this was way over the top, and whoever is working for ArenaNet has to be smoking something, because this is crazy. But with the removal of Selly and all that shit, I don't see it being too much of a problem. It still is a problem. It's still Threshold passive, which is the laziest thing you can do for a Grandmaster trait for Ellie. For God's sake, make it something to where it incorporates active play. I mean, I don't know, off the top of my head. Every time you hit somebody above a certain threshold with an attack, you remove a condition or something like that. Make it to where they have to work for it or anything. Fucking anything. Instead of just, I sit here, I don't do anything, and then if I get conditions on me, I can literally go and take a shit and come back and all the conditions would be gone if they didn't spike me down below 75%. How is that fun? Literally, how is that fun? How is that engaging? Please look into it. My God. Same thing with Fleeted Shadow. Change the instant reflex, gain 2 seconds evasion when struck below the hell threshold of fucking again. 50%, 40-second cooldown. This reminds me of Desperate Decoy from Mesmer. I hate Desperate Decoy from Mesmer. I think it's a joke. I think you don't have to do anything to get it because you don't. Literally, all you have to do is get spiked down and a instant defensive passive takes the reins for you. Same thing with Fleet Shadow. It's a joke. Please make these abilities aim at to where you would actually have to do something in order to get these types of defensive mechanics, because right now it's lazy as fuck. Like, I don't know what you're doing or what you think, but this is not fun. It's not engaging at all in the slightest. Basilisk Venom. Your attacks are unblockable in addition to turning foes to stone. This works with Venomous Aura, so all your allies' attacks will be unblockable. You're already stunning somebody. Why are you adding unblockable to this attack of all things? Putting it on Basilisk Venom, I think, is too strong. Put it on anything else. Any utility or just anything in general, but putting on Bassi Venom, like the auto attack damage is crazy too, because it's just like, of all things to increase the damage of, you're gonna give it on an auto attack. Yeah! On top of you deleting all of the defensive amulets out of the game. Just by the amulets alone, this has no right to be in the game at all, because I mean, thieves are all going to be already hitting like fucking trucks because there's no there's no defensive barrier when it comes to amulets or raw stats preventing the thief from just killing fucking anybody. Not to mention you put it on an auto attack, which is the most mindless thing you could ever do in terms of increasing damage on anything. So that's it. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment below, or I'll probably post this on the forum, see what you guys what your thoughts are on that. And that's it. Countless BringYourFriends. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later.